Hey everybody, this is Steven with Freeze Peach Gaming, and today we're going over this article, Why the Term Jedi is Problematic. It's cringeworthy, to say the least. This is going to hurt us. We're going to hop right into it. I'm going to link it down in the description below if you want to read it, because I'm not going to be reading the whole thing, but I suggest you don't, and let me do this damage to myself. Don't hurt your brain trying to read this and make sense of the crap that's said here. Let's hop right into it. So, this first paragraph basically describes how the term Jedi, an acronym Jedi, is being put into the STEM fields. And Jedi means justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And apparently it's sweeping through the STEM fields. I mean, I've never heard anyone talk about it, but what would I know? Let's see. The Jedi are inappropriate mascots for social justice. Although they're ostensibly heroes within the Star Wars universe, the Jedi are inappropriate symbols for justice work. They are a religious order of intergalactic police monks prone to white saviorism and toxically masculine approaches to conflict resolution, violent duels with phallic lightsabers, gaslighting by means of Jedi mind tricks, etc. The Jedi are also an exclusionary cult, membership to which is partly predicated on the possession of heightened psychic and physical abilities, or force sensitivity. I mean, this. Okay, yeah, they're Jedi Knights. One of the things that defines a Jedi is their ability to use the Force. I mean, that's like saying you have to know how to read if you want to become a monk. Okay, yes, you'll have to know how to read. I'll say that's not biologically predicated, but yeah, it's a fantasy universe. It's space magic. I mean, do you think anyone in any fantasy anything could just use magic automatically? An innate skill in most fantasy that you see. Heck, I'm playing Dragon Age Origins right now, and yeah, only certain people are able to use magic, and they find people with this sensitivity. Strikingly force wielding talents are narratively explained in Star Wars, not merely in spiritual terms, but also in ableist and eugenic ones. Hang on, eugenic ones? I don't think they know what they're talking about there. And I don't think they know who's been using eugenics, who's been promoting that. Because, if, in case you didn't know, abortion is a form of eugenics. It is intentionally designed by a eugenicist to be used in places where there are black, Hispanic, and Jewish people so that they can quell the population growth of these people. So, obviously, this person don't know what they talk about. These supernatural powers are naturalized as biological hereditary attributes. And we know that's a problem because, these people can't see anything as being biological or hereditary. Any person is capable of doing anything that they just want to do. You don't have to either work towards something, and you'd never see an athlete who is more biologically predisposed to be better at a certain sport. So it is that force potential is framed in dynastic property of noble bloodlines. For example, the Skywalker dynasty. Once again, they don't know what they're talking about. The Jedi aren't allowed to breed. That's one of the things. They're not supposed to have physical or emotional attachments, and that keeps them from being able to form relationships, even sexual ones. They don't breed more Jedi. They go out looking for more Jedi. Now, if you want to say that there's an issue of they basically go around, picking up slave children that show force sensitivity, yeah, okay, we can talk about that, but this is just incorrect. And force disparities are rendered innate physical properties, measurable via midichlorian counts. All right, we don't talk about midichlorians, all right? So this is a bunch more, as Greta Thunberg would say, blah, blah, blah. We're going to skip this one. We're going to go right to one of my favorite parts. Jedi connects social justice initiatives to corporate capital. Oh, yes, what is always the problem? Capitalism. Jedi is more than just a name. It's a product. Circulating that product's name can promote and benefit the corporation that owns it, even if we do not mean to do so. We are in fact providing that corporation, Disney, with a free form advertising, commodifying and cheaping our justice work in the process. Oh yes, what's the problem? We're giving our money to as George Lucas would say, to the white slavers. And yeah, that's what happens when you're a fan of something. that, if you're a fan of something, you're going to innately promote that corporation just by talking about it. Such informal co-branding entangles our initiatives in Disney's morally messy past and present. See, this is the thing. Disney is one of the wokest companies out there right now. They're hiring people solely based on what their skin color, gender, their sexual preferences are, and they're tokenizing all of the gingers. Young Ripa talks about that all the time. Anytime there's a ginger character, they are automatically turned black. So this is one of the wokest companies out there, but what they're doing is still wrong because of their morally messy past and present. And I would agree they have a morally messy present, especially with all of the, Chinese slavery that they're promoting. It may also serve to rebrand and whitewash Disney by linking one of its signature product lines to social justice after all. Disney has a long and troubling history of circulating racist, sexist, heterosexist, and orientalist narratives and imagery, which the corporation and its subsidiaries, like Pixar, are publicly reckoning with. Yeah, Disney is, they're so racist. These movies that the movies they always bring up, Dumbo, what are the other ones? You got Dumbo. I'm surprised they haven't gone after Jungle Book, even though they had actual black actors singing songs very similar to their, style of song. I'm surprised they haven't gone after that. Oh, Song of the South. That's the other big one they're constantly going after. Is Song of the South. It's not like these movies were created at a time when, yes, our country did have a racist problem, and being able to view that can be a good thing. I mean, when I was a child, I grew up in a predominantly white area when I was very young. There was like one black family that went to my pretty small elementary school and I didn't have much, contact with black people until I wound up moving closer to the city. But before that, I didn't know about a lot of these things, and I learned about them by watching older cartoons, Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry, and all of these things. And I would ask my parents questions about these, and they would just be honest and say, "Oh yes, there was a point in time when, we didn't allow black people to go into certain areas. They had to use their own restaurants and water fountains and bathrooms, and we desegregated, and that's how I learned about these things." If we can't look back at our past and say, okay, this is what wasn't good about it, how are we going to learn from it? And sometimes for children, it's easier for them to view things that were created in a time where it was acceptable and have them be confused about it because this doesn't fit what they see in real life, and have that then explained to them. Furthermore, Disney is an overtly political entity, critiqued not only for its labor practices, but also for political donations and lobbying. Okay, that's like the one thing we're going to agree on is I frickin' hate corporate lobbying. Yeah, let's just, bribe our government officials to have laws go a certain way to benefit the companies. There's the one thing we could agree on, I guess. Joining forces with Disney's multimedia empire is thus a dangerous co-branding strategy for justice advocates and activists. This form of inadvertent woke washing extracts ethical currency from so-called Jedi work, robbing from its moral reserves and further enriching corporate capital. So yeah, even if people are doing what you want them to do, even if these companies are being as woke and inclusive and talking about justice and saying all the things you want them to, because they are in the end trying to make money because they are a corporation which is designed to make money, they are inherently evil. And you can't even use a word that they made up. You can't even co-opt the word. So this is the problem with all this stuff. No matter how woke these people become, they always will either move the goalpost or they will find a new measurement to go by. They won't even be talking about the original goalpost. They're going to come up with an entirely new field you have to go to. So, Disney's doing all the stuff they want them to. They fired Gina Carano because she made, what they consider to be a problematic comparison, even though it's pretty truthful. They hire all of the right people. They hire black characters to play traditionally white characters. They're doing all of these things that they're asking for, but even then it will never be good enough. And these companies are going to have to one day realize that there's no point in them following all of these Twitter keyboard warriors out here that are just trying to force them into fall within a very specific political ideology that doesn't agree with these companies being able to exist in the first place. If they had their way, these companies would be completely taken over by the state. They would take over well, they wouldn't say the state. It would be a workers' revolution, but I mean, look, I work in blue collar, and I can tell you the workers aren't ready to have a revolution. There's a reason that the workers' revolution has never happened. I mean, Marx thought it would happen within his lifetime, and it never occurred. And it still hasn't occurred. What are we looking at, like 140 years later, roughly? And nothing has occurred. You know why? Because workers don't care about all this crap. This is a bunch of trust fund champagne socialists out here saying this stuff. You know, if this person's writing for Scientific America, they're either just a journalist or they're an actual scientist that just has these, crazy ideas about how they think the world should work, and they want to force everyone else to live the way they want them to. And these companies aren't going to be able to exist if these people that they're capitulating to get what they want. I think that's all of the crap I want to see from this article for today. So if you have any comments or you have any questions, please put them in the comments down below. If you like this content, please subscribe and share it. That's the best thing you can do for me right now, is I need more people to see what I'm doing. Anyway, have a wonderful day and never be afraid to speak your mind.